Before we move on, let's just clarify one or two things. Spreadsheets is part of ICT, and I don't really intend to teach you how to use spreadsheets, but I'm going to explain one or two things that I'm doing. Now, spreadsheets in any particular cell can only take three or one of three different items. It can either take words, okay, so if you click on it and have a look at the top in the formula bar, that's where the information appears. So it can either contain words or it contain just numbers, and there we go, got just a number, but notice that numbers are aligned on the right hand side, or it can contain formulas. And formulas come in two different kinds, just basic ones, so maybe I want to add those two together. There. And what you see is a number, but in the formula bar you see the formula. It's the only time that happens. When you click on the formula, notice that it gives colours, blue and green in this case, and that tells you which cells it's working with. The other kind of formula that you can use is one that contains words, which we have used. If you take a look here, where we've used a word called int, and then we've got some cell references in there later. So that's the three things that can fit into a spreadsheet cell. There's nothing else. All formulas, if you want it to calculate, always start with the equal sign. So if you want your computer to do some calculations, it must start with the equal sign. So there's the IT part of it. Now, one thing that I like to do is know where you can actually make changes and colour those cells. So for example, packet, I'm not going to change the word packet at all, ever, but I'm going to change the value. So maybe I'll get a different packet, so instead of chocolate cupcakes, I might get some just plain vanilla, and they might be a different price. So anywhere that I can change something, I like to colour so that I can see and say, well, you just need to change the values in there. And again, eggs, this particular packet requires one egg, but another packet may require more than one egg. So that again is changeable, and so is the amount of butter. Notice that when we colour the cells, we actually lose the grid lines. We can put those back on just by choosing borders and all borders. So again, the cooking time is something that can change, and the preparation time, and the quantity is a value that I read from the packet saying that if I bought this packet it's going to make 6. If I bought a different packet it might only make 5, so that value can also change. So I'm just going to put the borders around these, and they are values that I can change. This is going to help me identify things that I can change in my model later. Again, the quantity for 6 eggs, that's not going to change. I'm always going to buy eggs in sixes, in boxes of 6. I know it does sell them in a dozen or 15, but what can change is the price. So if I buy 6 eggs extra large, it might cost a little bit more, and the same goes for butter. For a 500 gram pack or tub of butter, I've got 185. That may change depending on where I buy it, and we've already seen that Tesco's are offering it for £1. So again, they are things that can change. I'm going to put borders around. These are formulas. They're never going to change. By me, they will change when I change. Let's say I want 2 eggs instead of 1 egg. So if I change that value to 2 when I press enter, these values over here will change. So that's gone to 3 instead of the 6 that we had. So formulas will never change. Sometimes when I'm playing around with formulas, I would like to highlight those in a different colour, just to say, oops, that is a formula, please don't change it. So I'm going to just choose a nice light colour for that and put some borders around it. And anything that is in that colour now, I'm not going to change. I know there's a formula there. The minute I try and change something in that cell, I will lose the formula and lose the calculation. So there's a little bit of an IT lesson to back up what we're doing in a spreadsheet and sort of make it useful. So I can now say, well, if you look at the yellow cells, they're values that you can change. You can change the amount of butter to 80 grams, and your formula is now beginning to work. As you can see, that's gone down to 6 instead of 7. You can watch it change back, and that's the job done. So that's a little bit of information. So in the next video, we're going to start looking at what we can do with this information. All we've done at the moment is got values from the packets down here, and thought about what we can actually buy in quantities from the shops. We can only buy half a dozen eggs or 500 grams of butter. We've got the price, and that's telling us, well, if I had 6 eggs, it's going to make 6 lots. So I can buy 6 packets and I can use the same box of eggs. Or if I bought 500 grams of butter, 1 tub of butter, that's going to allow me to sort of buy 7 packets of cake mix, and that butter will last for all 7 before I need to buy some more. So that's a brief explanation.